My name is Ashley. I have experience about a certain lab in this town. I got fake results that I was not satisfied with.
So it all started in November 2010. My dad started with coughing. We didn't know what was happening, so he decided to go to a dispensary. So he went to a dispensary and was administered antibiotics. And then he came back home, took the antibiotics. Unfortunately, he did not survive. He succumbed to death in February.
All human beings are guinea pigs in the laboratory of God. But since humanity is a work in progress, there is need for checks and balances on quality of medication, laboratory personnel, medical training institutions, and equipment here on Earth.
If you are going to diagnose a disease and you have no instrument or wherewithal to diagnose it, then you will not treat it. So the foundation of all medical science is pathology, knowing how to identify diseases, what causes them, and therefore knowing then how to proceed to treat.
The Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologists Board was formed by an Act of Parliament in 1999 to do just that. Ensure all medical institutions provide proper medication through regulating the operations of all medical laboratories, professional conduct of lab technicians through certification and approval of training institutions, and laboratory facilities in Kenya.
Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians Technologies Board is a board that was incorporated through an Act of Parliament in 1999 and promulgated in 2000 to regulate medical laboratory practice.
From its current base at the SK Garden House along Ngong Avenue, Nairobi, the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologists Board also formulates quality procedures to be followed in the medical laboratory practice, besides monitoring, auditing, and inspecting laboratories and training institutions, making the board a key player in Kenya's health sector.
The mandates are very clear. One is to regulate training of medical laboratory practitioners, regulate the colleges that train them, regulate the setup of laboratories and the institutions that test people, and 3, regulate the tools of trade use in this sector, that is the equipment, reagents, and all devices that are used for testing.
All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Just why the board was recently authorized to validate laboratory equipment as part of quality assurance in line with our vision of being an accountable, effective, and efficient regulatory body promoting quality and medical laboratory services.
The role of regulation is to ensure quality diagnostic services and to give quality healthcare. So what we have achieved so far, we have at least mainstreamed in the workforce development how competent the people who practice in this sector are ensured to be competent, from training to the board exams and to be registered as practitioners. And the institutions that train these fellows, where these fellows are produced, the production of these fellows, that's institutions. Also inspect them and make sure they have the reliable teachers, reliable equipment.
We protect only what we love only what we know only what we are taught. Article 43 of our Constitution teaches that every Kenyan is entitled to the highest attainable standard of healthcare and services, including the right to emergency treatment and laboratory tests as well.
You don't just install equipment and instruments and leave them there. You install and train and provide maintenance, give warranties, and monitor the progress of the performance of that equipment.
If you do not train people according to certain laid down standards, you run the risk of getting poorly qualified people who complicate medical practice.
Laboratory testing for any disease plays a crucial role in the effective implementation of prevention, care, and treatment programs with regards to disease screening, clinical diagnosis, staging, and surveillance of diseases. And any good laboratory should have the capacity to provide quality, rapid, accurate, affordable, and reliable tests.
A safe lab and a quality lab is very important because it ensures that the results that are produced by that lab are the actual results and that they are produced in a safe manner, the health worker is safe, the patient is safe when they went to give their specimen, they do not have to be recalled for another specimen, and if a question ever arises, the lab is able to retrieve the data that was used to generate that lab result.
Kenya faces several challenges in this area, including lack of access to reliable diagnostic testing, shortage of lab technicians, and wanting medical lab infrastructure.
Among the main challenges that this country has encountered in provision of laboratory services in the health sector, first is the whole issue of infrastructure. For a very long time, the laboratories were ignored. If you go to major health facilities, you'll find that the laboratory section is usually an isolated small room with very little lighting, very poor water flow, with staff that are congested. That doesn't augur very well, and this is something we really observed and has been a major concern and therefore priority for the ministries to address.
A wide range of challenges ranging from people who want or purport to be qualified to practice, yet they have never been trained, and professionally they know nothing about medical laboratory. Other businessmen are also giving us a challenge in the sense that they import and distribute important products in the name of medical equipment and reagents, which are used by the unsuspecting professionals in the laboratory. These actually contribute to a number of misdiagnoses in terms of disease, and therefore the physicians or doctors who manage patients, they get wrong results arising from the fake products in the market.
I was examined in one of the private hospitals in Nyanza, where I was proved to have diabetic, and I'm not diabetic.
The test was about the paternity test, and according to me, the tests are supposed to be positive, but not negative as I got them. So I believe something went wrong somewhere, and that is, I believe it was tampered with. I know it was tampered with because the person who came to me, he wanted ransom from me, as in I was to make a bargaining meeting with him, as in if I pay him more, he will give me the real results. If I pay him less, he will not give me the results. And that is exactly what happened.
So it's a sector now that should widen up. When KMLTTB was promulgated, the highest fellows who were qualified were fellows with higher diploma. But now we have fellows who have gone from certificate to PhD level. The people are now really gurus in this sector, having walked through the path both practically and academically. And now the constraint in the Act is limiting that we only deal with technicians and technologists. So these are the challenges we are trying to mitigate by trying to now to amend the Act. The other challenge is people sometimes operate like they want to operate in a jungle. Even in a jungle, there are animal laws. At least animals also have rules. They just wake up, they want to set up labs, quacks, shanties labs, ramshackles.
And by the time the diagnosis was being done, the condition had worsened and it was beyond chemotherapy. So we had to take him for chemotherapy. Unfortunately, he did not survive. It comes to death in February. So it was really sad because, first of all, the reason why he died shortly was because of delay in results and misdiagnosis. And then on the part of the doctor, it was negligence because I believe the doctor never did his part well.
This is an example or a very, very bad laboratory setup. As you can see, in terms of infrastructure, there is no ventilation. Okay? It is actually made up of cardboard, and that if you look at the setup here, you find that there is nothing to show that any laboratory diagnosis takes place. So it's a display just to coax the public that laboratory activities do take place. This is a PCA, which is 3,000 shilling. Yeah. And a pregnancy test. And a pregnancy test should not be able to cost 3,000 shillings. That is actually wrong. It's actually urine for pregnancy test. And they're charging 3,000 shillings, which one of the victims has actually paid.
You cannot produce a standard test result from such laboratories. We go around, read them, close them, but they play cat and mouse game. So the sustainability of standard laboratory provision is the problem.
The titer is 1 in 40, 1 in 40.
And the other one also.
And this
they
means...
all seem to have the same level of titers.
Yes. Yeah. That means this is not somebody who's doing a genuine work, he's cooking this work.
And the microscope is not working, so...
There is a malaria test that has been requested.
So how
There's a malaria test that has been requested. They have already written results that it's sealed. This is not working.
Knowing how to identify diseases, what causes them, and therefore knowing then how to proceed to treat. That is why the work of a laboratory technician is so important, because that is where actually treatment starts. That is where the problem is identified. So it's really a matter of life and death, because if you cannot identify the problem you're dealing with, then you're not going very far.
A correct and accurate laboratory test is very critical, because it is from this test that clinicians will make a decision on the patient management. And if the test is not reliable, then you see a difference between life and death. If there is a wrong laboratory diagnosis, then the wrong management will be instituted, and that could lead to death. But if we have laboratories that provide accurate results, then this can save a lot of lives.
It would really be great if the lab policy, the national lab policy and the national lab strategic plan could be fully implemented.
There are fellows who even go to court to try to stop us from doing this. How do you go to court to stop us from regulating products that are really hinged on improving the testing standards to give proper quality healthcare?
Real knowledge begins with knowing the extent of what you do not know. The doctor of the future will give no medications, but will interest the patients in the care of the human frame, in diet and causes and prevention of diseases.
For a result to be released to a patient, the person releasing the result must have followed all the standard protocols. So we are enhancing vigilance on the practitioners.
The Kenya Medical Lab and Technologists Board is very important in guiding lab practice in Kenya, in certifying personnel, in establishing standards for laboratory practice, including infrastructure, and ensuring that we have the right equipment and the right reagents in the country. So this is also a very important body that should be strengthened.
Before that happens, the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologists Board will continue carrying out its mission of protecting the health of all Kenyans by ensuring compliance with standards of training, research, practice, and business in medical laboratory services. Roche is the world leader in vitro diagnostics, tissue-based cancer diagnostics, and a pioneer in diabetes management. Roche manufactures quality products. In addition, Roche Diagnostics South Africa is now ISO 13485 certified. Proudly sponsored by Roche.